Welcome to Shazza's Laughter Hour on Radio Northern Beaches, 88.7, 90.3 FM, or TuneIn Radio app on Android and Apple, or through the website northernbeachesradio.org. I have a very special guest in today. It is local Northern Beaches comedian, actor, voiceover artist, and children's party entertainer, Jonas Holt.
Hi, thanks for having me on the show.
Welcome, Jonas. You're an exciting guest to start off my very first program for Radio Northern Beaches. I know you're a multi-talented artist and you like to keep fit and healthy, and part of Shazza's Laughter Hour is to talk about health and fitness, as well as local comedians and people that work in the health industry in the Northern Beaches. So I just wanted to ask you, how did you get into stand-up comedy, and when did you start performing stand-up comedy and impressions? Because I know you're an impressionist and you do character voices and celebrity voices professionally. So when did you first start doing that, Jonas?
Let's see. I think it all started. I've been doing it since I was a kid. Obviously, just like mimicking things that I saw on TV, movies, and things like that. But it probably this first time I did it was this hotel in Broome, Western Australia, and I was with my family, and there was this competition for to impersonate Max Headroom, who was part of the Coke campaign at the time, and Max Headroom was very big. It was in the 80s. There I go. That's disclosing my age. And
Just
yeah, of course. And anyway, yeah, all these guys were getting up and doing these Max Headroom impersonations, and then I got up and did mine, and I was only like 11 years old at the time.
Wow, I didn't realise you were that young when you got started.
Yeah, well, I guess I got coerced. My mum sort of threw me into it and said, there's this prize up for grabs. You get in there and go and do it. You know the ad off by heart. You've been doing it around the house all the time. I went, all right. So I got up and did that, and I won it. Meanwhile, in the other corner of the yard, my dad was in an arm wrestling contest, and he won a couple of rounds of that as well. So it was a good day for the family.
Oh, right. What were the prizes for that? Can you remember?
It was like this Coca-Cola show bag or something like that. I got this little Coke radio shaped like a vending machine. I kept that for many years as just a radio, and a T-shirt and some other bits and pieces. And anyway, that was worth doing. And then after that, when I was about 18, I started calling in on this radio program in Perth for Who Do You Do was the name of the segment. And I went on to win that about 13 times, I think.
Wow.
I did it about 15 times, and then they ended up banning me because I had to start using my mates' names and everything, because they'd send us the check when we win the $100 for it.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I was doing different kinds of voices, local ones, trying international ones and stuff as well. And yeah, that's where it sort of started.
So that's a long time and a very probably natural ability and something you enjoyed doing.
Yeah,
Just came naturally, hey?
Yeah, and I try and build on some more of them here and there when I'm out and about doing stand-up comedy and everything. Because people like impersonations and things like that, doing different kinds of voices. The trouble is a lot of the voices I seem to gravitate towards are what I call loathsome cowboys. Sometimes they're the people that people don't really like all that much. And I think that's probably one of the rules of doing impersonations, is to impersonate likable characters.
Didn't you do a show at the Comedy Festival of Sydney, the Sydney Fringe or Sydney Comedy Festival, called Loathsome Cowboys a couple of years ago?
Yeah, that's right. So that's where I got the name of it all from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought, well, geez, a lot of these guys that I'm impersonating generally frowned upon when you hear people talk about them in pubs or on TV or on the news and things like that. People, for example, might be like Anthony Mundine.
The thing is, I've been like impersonating Anthony Mundine for, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 years and all that. And, like some people say that sometimes it's a little bit too real and all that. But, for me, I beat a lot of chumps. Pound for pound, I'm still the greatest boxer that ever lived. maybe even bigger than Ali. Know what I'm saying?
So when I'm doing
That's
characters
great.
like
That's
that,
great, Jonas. Gee, I feel like Anthony Mundine's in the studio with me.
sometimes I
Wouldn't that
do
be
that
a
on.
treat?
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess it depends who you ask,
Yeah,
and
well, I
that's the
mean,
trouble.
he is a great athlete. I have to say that he certainly is a great athlete.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
and
that's
a
the
character.
difference, and that's the trouble when I do it on stage. Sometimes, sometimes people will applaud for that, sometimes they laugh for that, and it gives me an idea as to what sort of crowd I'm in for when I do it.
Yeah. So you recently went on a cruise, I believe, and performed as a stand-up comedian,
Yeah,
and you do an impression show on cruise ships.
yeah, out on the high seas, that's where I was.
Okay, out you go.
Yeah, I was out there.
A love boat.
Yeah, I was out there. I was a pirate. I was out there, and yeah, we were just going out there and looting ships. Really, no, we were we were on the
Where were you, in Nigeria or the Pacific?
yeah, out in the Pacific
Yeah.
out there, and it was that whole. It was like a sequel to Captain Phillips, that Tom Hanks movie. Look at me, I'm the captain now. No, I was out doing the cruise ships, and yeah, it was a really good time that I had out over there.
You didn't get any scurvy or anything on that ship?
No,
No.
I had plenty of
Or rickets?
had plenty of good meals down there.
Yeah, that's the thing with cruise ships. You can overdo it at the buffet or the buffet, as some
Yeah,
people like to call it.
yeah. There's a lot of people on board that would probably call it a buffet quite easily.
Yes, I'd like a bit of buffet breakfast now, and perhaps after bingo we can go to the buffet. And oh look, there's Warren.
It
Oh
was
no,
great.
Warren
There were so many
Buffett.
people from all over Australia and everything. And, there's people on cruise ships, like for some of them, I think it's like one of their last hurrahs, in terms of going out for, on a big holiday or retirement holiday and everything. And I remember going down to one deck and they had this karaoke quiz going on, and then people were singing K-San and
Oh my goodness.
all sorts of things. It was amazing they weren't wearing, Vegemite as war paint. It was
Yeah.
just that Aussie.
Wow, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Well, one of the songs I'll be putting on shortly is actually an Australian artist called Jimmy Barnes. And some years ago, after Cold Chisel, he created an album called Soul Deep with a lot of fantastic old
Oh,
songs.
yeah.
Yeah. You know what, Jimmy? So I will be warning everyone to block their ears at the beginning of the song I'm going to put on because there's
Jimmy's
large.
great, mate. He's
Yeah,
really great, mate.
that's right. Yes, and well, even when he's off his partying days, he's still very loud, and hopefully he does a very good vocal warm up before he sings and won't get throat damage. So Jonas, do you do a kind of vocal warm up or any kind of preparation before you go to work as a comedian wherever you are?
Yeah, it depends on what I'm planning to do. If I'm just going to do a series of different impersonations and things, then maybe not so much. But if I'm taking my guitar to do some guitar parodies, then sometimes it's a good idea for me to just sort of warm up my voice in the car a little bit, or other things that I might do as well that I might need to
Mm.
warm up my voice for. And sometimes it's good in the car because no one can hear you with the windows wound up. But other times, like if I'm in a cabin on the cruise ship or something, then I've got to just put a towel to bunch up a towel right in my face and just start into the towel, and
Mm.
that can work. But geez, you wouldn't want to be the person in the cabin next door
That
wondering what the hell's going on
they might think
there.
you've had an accident or you're a little bit blocked up in the bathroom area.
Well, yeah,
Perhaps too much rich food at the buffet.
just all round cabin fever,
Yeah,
really.
that's it. Yeah,
Screaming into a
stir
pillow.
crazy. So when you work on the cruise ships as a comedian, do you have a stateroom up the top, or are you in like a smaller cabin further down? You might be with other entertainers that may not notice if you're screaming into a pillow or a towel for a vocal warm up.
Sometimes I dine in the wheelhouse, but other times, no, mostly I just eat in the crew mess,
The crew
or
area, yeah.
yeah, the crew mess, or sometimes you can dine up with all of the other guests upstairs, and just like maybe have some ice cream or something. Hey, Jaden, stop it. No, you can't have ice cream before you have everything else.
Did you attend a captain's cocktail party? Not
Um,
invited to that? Or perhaps that's on the first night of the cruise.
yeah, it might have been. Yeah, because I just flew in and flew off within 2 or 3 days.
So you come on, provide the entertainment for the dates, and then you pretty much leave.
Yeah.
It would usually not thrown overboard, but via a plane.
Yeah, I'd like to be choppered in one day.
Chop it in. And you do chopper, don't you? Did you do a chopper impersonation once, speaking of choppered?
Um,
Choppers?
Not really. The closest to chopper read I think I got to was Bronwyn Bishop in a chopper.
How did that go, Jonas? Because she's a well-known Northern Beaches identity, and
Yeah,
actually quite a for women. She was one of the first women politicians, so has had a very long career and was a real trailblazer, I think.
that's right. Yeah, and she became Madam Speaker.
Yeah, I think that's a
I
tremendous goal to have that.
Yeah, it was quite an achievement. I'd like
Yeah.
to see her replacement guy, Jason Falinsky, be Madam Speaker now, but
Yeah, we'll see about that.
yeah, that's right. Only if like he was going to host the new footy show or something like that, could he get to dress up with the tutu on?
So what did you say your Bronwyn Bishop impersonation was?
It was just basically that.
Aha. Yeah.
Simple as that.
And we do it with the greatest of respect too. And I believe one of your other characters who's quite popular or unpopular, depending on where you learn or political line is Mr. Donald Trump, President of the United States. Is he a popular character to do on stage?
Absolutely. The guy is tremendous. The guy really is great. I love the guy. I mean, come on. Everybody loves him, right? Isn't he great? Isn't he terrific? I think he's terrific. Everybody says that. I get hundreds of emails every day, and they're all saying the same thing. Isn't the guy great? So great. Terrific. And by the way, we're going to build a seawall around Coloroy Beach. And you know who's going to pay for it? Long Reef Golf Club are going to pay for the wall.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole new Northern Beaches Council now in operation, so who knows who's paying for what, but I'm sure it'll all get done eventually. And Jonas, you also go on comedy cruises around Sydney Harbour.
Yeah, also on the harbour. Yep, been doing that for a lot of years now, and they're really good fun. They're a little bit like the Pacific cruises, except a lot shorter, obviously. And
Are they 3-hour cruise
yeah,
usually?
yeah,
Unless there's a shipwreck.
yeah, that's right. There's the last time I was on there.
Gilligan!
Speaking of a 3-hour cruise, there was a guy dressed up as
Hi, Professor.
the captain. Hey, little buddy. It was a bit like that, I think, on that last cruise. But yeah, those are good fun as well. Yeah, and we get a meal and
More food. That's good. It's
yeah,
always good as a professional artist of some sort to be paid in food.
yeah,
Makes it worthwhile.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. No, I mean, money's an old economy. Now it's food.
Yes, we all need that and a bit of petrol. And Jonas, you have another career as well. You run a superhero kids party entertainment business. And you have your own character, I hear, called Mr. Footy Man. Or is it just Footy Man?
Yeah, Footy Man is a character I just set up when about 10 years ago when I thought, well, actually 12 years ago, I think, back when AFL, I really like AFL and I like the idea of, kids playing it and everything like that. So I created this character as a bit of a unique brand, a bit of a mascot sort of thing, and I'd go out to kids' parties playing that sort of character and just play modified games of soccer or balloon soccer and things like that. Because I realized pretty quickly that when you get a bunch of competitive young kids all scrambling for the ball, it can get a bit dangerous. So you just kept it pretty soft after a while.
That's right. Preferably on grass.
Yeah.
Or soft surfaces.
Yeah. You don't want it to rain, and next thing you know, you're in a hallway playing football.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Well, on that note, we're going to go into our first song today, and Jonas is going to stick around for a little bit more of a chat.
Yeah, I'd love to.
And we're going into Jimmy Barnes, and Jonas might be good enough to introduce Jimmy Barnes if he can. Jimmy Barnes, and the song is from Jimmy Barnes's album, which he did as a solo act called Soul Deep. And I remember this came out 25 or so years ago, which was pretty exciting. And the song I would like to have is Signed, Sealed, Delivered, I'm Yours. And
Here you go, mate. This is one of my greatest tracks. Have a listen.
and also, just before I press play, just a little warning, if you have tinnitus or you have a headache of any kind, just stand a little bit away from the radio, or if you're listening to this through the website live streaming, just stand a little bit. Don't put your head against any of the speakers for the first few seconds. And that was Soul Deep by Jimmy Barnes, and the song was Signed, Sealed, Delivered, I'm Yours. So Jonas, you sound like with your footy man and your pirate characters that you do a lot of running around. Do you like to keep fit? Is that
Yeah,
important for your work?
yeah, it has to be because otherwise I don't fit into the costumes very well. And
Uh-oh.
yeah, I see some of my competitors that have, different actors working for them, and you can tell that they probably spend a bit more time at acting classes than they do in the gym. So that's a big part of the look of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, to look like a superhero,
Well,
well,
there's no obese man, is there?
no, no. The closest you might get to that is the Hulk, I guess. But no one wants to go to that effort of painting themselves green.
No, I guess that doesn't have a lot of scope for child activities such as, fun and laughter. It tends to be just bashing stuff and being angry.
Yeah,
We'll leave that to the adults.
yeah. Hulk smash.
Yeah.
You ask kids
Hulk smash!
That's it. You ask kids what they know about the Hulk, and that's all they'll tell you. Can anybody tell me about the Hulk? Yeah, he smashes stuff. Yeah, all right.
Not the best role model.
No, that's right.
Mm,
So I just compare him to a baby or something like that. The kids think it's hilarious, naturally.
And you do a pirate character too?
Yeah. So I have a pirate character called Captain Kenny. It's like this Irish Scottish pirate that I just started doing that about 20 years ago, and so that's fun.
Does it look like Captain Steubing from the Love Boat, or?
More like probably a little bit more like Captain Feathersword from the Wiggles, except yeah, it's very different. I've got the no eye patch. I make sure I don't have just for safety reasons, because occupational health and safety comes before anything else when it comes to kids' parties. So there's no eye patch,
Well, you need to
no
see what
peg
angle
leg.
they're going to come at you at.
Yeah,
Peripheral vision is important with
yeah.
kids.
Stereoscopic vision. No hook hand.
No,
No peg leg.
nothing sharp of
No
any kind.
no sword. No
No,
gun.
no.
Yeah, it's just one of those
Well, this isn't
kids.
America, is it? The USA, so we don't have guns at kids' parties here.
No,
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 no, not.
it's not one of my rights.
No, that's it. Right to behave like a cowboy. The 2000s. Well, that's nice. And so you run your own business, and that's called Superhero Central.
Yeah, that's right. Up on the northern beaches, a lot of the parties that I do are up on the northern beaches, and yeah, I pretty much know all of the locations, all of the venues and things that I get booked in all around.
There's a lot of great community centres on the northern beaches.
Yeah, there are. I've got favourites and I've got least favourites, obviously, and usually it's how conducive they are to noise, especially for me, because I've got to yell and use my voice. I mean, that's probably my most valuable asset. That and my ability to be able to move and run around and do things, obviously. But
Yeah.
yeah, all the different venues around town. There's some really good ones, some really nice modern ones and everything. They all have their pros and cons up here on the northern beaches. So yeah, I love it, and obviously it's easier for me rather than to do them all around the northern beaches rather than have to
Lots of
travel.
long commuting. Yeah. So you actually grew up on the northern beaches around Bilgola, was it? And then your family moved to Western Australia for a while, but now you've come back for
Yeah, that's right.
living here.
Yeah, more or less. Used to live up at Bungan Head.
Bangin'!
Yeah,
Bangin'!
I think that's where David Koch from the breakfast TV show Sunrise. I think he lives in that street. He used to live in Bungan Head Road,
Wow.
which as we used to
Nice
joke,
views?
sounds like a swear word or an insult or something like that.
No,
Yeah,
it's just a word.
yeah, that's right.
Banging it on.
Bunging it on as we were.
Mm.
And I lived there. I was born at Mona Vale Hospital, and now now I live
In
in
the,
down the
still
other
in the
end.
northern beaches, but up the other end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Balgowlah.
Yeah.
And so I know the northern beaches pretty well. And although that changes every time I get in the car, I go, "Oh, I thought I knew this road." But there's
Mm.
often roadworks on different places, but that's progress.
And now we've got the Beeline and the new Northern Beaches Hospital going in. There's a lot of activity that's been going on the roads and building.
Yeah.
And have you found that slowed you to traffic? The traffic, has it slowed you down in any of your commutes to get to your kids' parties in the Northern Beaches area?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, especially on Warringah Road. I think everybody knows that now. It's synonymous with swearing, I think, sometimes. But yeah, near the Northern Beaches Hospital, it can be like that. A bit of a choke point and everything when you start seeing the orange ballards and everything all along the road. You know, you're in a bit of trouble on the weekends because everyone comes out on the weekends, and that's when I have to work the hardest is travelling from one kid's party to another. But
That's it.
that's just part of it. I just
Factor
get used
that
to it.
in.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be excellent when all the roadworks is done and the hospital's up and running. A huge bonus for the local area and anyone that requires hospital care. So we like nice, smooth running roads. So I'm going to get Jonas to introduce our next song today. The next number is from a wonderful old album called the Grammy Nominees 2000, and it's by the Backstreet Boys. I Want It That Way, not this way, but that way. Jonas, perhaps you'd like to sing as a Backstreet Boy. I Want It That Way for us to introduce our next number.
Is this from the? It says Grammy nominees, but geez, this is 2000, year
Yeah.
2000. I mean,
Oh,
if you
I'm up
showed
to
this to
date with my
kids,
music.
it's more like granny
Yeah,
nominees
I'm a granny.
from back in 2000.
That's it. I'm keeping it up, keeping up to date.
Yeah, right. Here's the Backstreet Boys with "I Want It That Way."
And we're back. So, Jonas, you seem like you're pretty busy most of the time and always up and around doing things and keeping very fit and active. What do you like to do to keep fit and keep healthy? And what do you do in your free time if you have any?
I sometimes get free time in between, emails and admin and running around preparing for kids' parties and things like that for the weekend. It's a good life. It's an easy life most of the time. Um, but I do have to work pretty hard when I'm out running around with the kids' parties, particularly if I've got like three in a day and there's just 6-year-olds and the parents thought, we'll give them lollipops at the start.
Oh, that's
And
a good idea.
that'll be fine, but it's not. It's like giving a bunch of 18-year-old blokes going out on a bucks party a tray of shots just to get the night started.
Okay.
And that's usually how it starts. So when I'm up against that, yeah, I've got to be fit, aerobically fit and agile. And so to do that, I just basically I just try to go to the gym every day of the week and Sunday nights as well after kids' parties usually. Usually go at night time because there's no one there at the 24-hour gyms.
Oh, they're fantastic 24-hour gyms. Just
Yeah.
let yourself in and away you go.
Yeah, you get the whole place to yourself sometimes if you're there at the right time.
Yeah.
Just me and the vacuum cleaner guy.
Yeah. Oh, well, he's got to do something.
Yeah, that's
And,
right. It dulls out some of the music I otherwise might not have wanted to hear. So that's what I do, and sometimes go for runs down the oval and everything on a nice day.
Yeah, the Northern Beaches has a lot of great parks and sporting ovals, and you can kick a footy and keep your aerobic fitness going.
Yeah, sometimes do
Watch
that.
out for the dog poo sometimes.
Yeah, there are some parks. LM Graham Reserve, Boy Charlton swimming pool, the oval behind that. That used to be notorious for it. In fact, I thought they were going to start having awards nights for dogs that
Dog
were
poo.
for the
that
best
sounds
dog
like a
poos.
good idea. They could do that on the boardwalk between Freshwater and South Curl Beach. There's often little droppings there,
Yeah,
and
it's
I think it would be nice for people to pick up their droppings from their dogs at all times with a pooper scooper, if not a plastic bag.
yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice, but I think you just have to keep an eye on your feet most of the time.
You live in a fantasy world, Sharon.
Oh, Shazza, come on. World without dog poo in public places, it seems extreme.
Yeah, next
Yeah.
you'll be asking for no more mosquitoes and flies.
Oh, I know, no more cockroaches. Yeah, I know, I'm very demanding. Although I do think it's a great activity for people to go out and walk their dogs. It's very healthy. It's good for you. Apparently, it lowers your heart rate and your amygdala, which is the part of your brain that registers stress or fight or flight syndrome or the stress response or the relaxation response. And they've shown that having a pet's very healthy for you. It calms you right down. And not great for the neighbours though when that's going on.
No, it doesn't reduce their
But
heart
overall,
rate.
I'm all for people having dogs or cats or pets and taking them out for a walk as long as they're responsible in our lovely parks in the Northern Beaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on that happy note, I've got one more song I'm going to get Jonas to introduce. This is from another favourite old album, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, from the movie soundtrack.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. And this is Madonna singing Beautiful Stranger. And I'm thinking maybe Jonas wouldn't mind introducing this song as Austin Powers, considering he is such a master of voices and impersonations. So it's Madonna singing Beautiful Stranger.
Yeah, Madonna, baby. Yeah. Shagadelic. I don't know. I haven't done that. You just sprung that on me there. I haven't done that
Would
voice
you like
in
to
a
go
long
and
time.
rehearse it while the song's on and then you can come back and do it again?
I'll have a frickin' go.
It's Dr. Evil.
Yeah.
Dr. Evil.
Yeah, the one.
I'm evil.
All right.
Dr. Evil.
Beautiful Stranger by Madonna.
Would you like to introduce that song as anyone else? Just a random voice that you can think of at the top of your head?
Let's see, Northern Beaches. What about Geoff Toovey from one of our previous coaches of the Sea Eagles?
This is Beautiful Stranger, okay? Beautiful Stranger by Madonna. It's one of my favourite tracks.
Oh, that's I'm so relaxed after hearing that voice. Thank you so much. And here we are, Beautiful Stranger. And that was Beautiful Stranger from the Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me soundtrack. That had Heather Graham in as one of his leading ladies, and Madonna's always been a leading lady. So just before we finish up our interview with Jonas, can you give any listeners tips about how to run a successful and smooth running kids party? What would you suggest that the parents do? Obviously, trying to limit sugary treats, at least at the beginning of the party. Can you suggest any other food or any ways that they can make the party a little bit more successful for everyone?
Yeah, lots of things. Yeah, that's the first thing, obviously, is just to limit the amount of sugary foods and drinks and everything beforehand. I guess things like Coke and Coca-Cola. I always shake my head at that. I don't know why people let them have fizzy drinks, the ones with caffeine in them especially, because they just go right off the scale, and then the parents are looking at them like, "What's wrong with you?" And they don't even realise they've basically enabled it. So at the start of a party, I would recommend they have more savoury foods like chips and popcorn and things like that. And then, if they have to have the more sugary sorts of things, then I mean, might as well have them later on.
Or give them in a lolly bag to take home
Yeah,
in the car and eat them on the way home,
yeah,
and then go crazy when
yeah.
they
The
get
parents deal with that in the
Yeah,
car ride home and
yeah.
everything. But yeah, that's probably the first thing to remember is just not too much sugar at the start of it. There's a lot of things that happen at kids' parties. I mean, retro games aren't really as fun as they probably once were because kids have got shorter attention spans these days. You have to be very careful when it comes to piñatas and things because I've seen a few little accidents occurring with those things. Make sure the kids have two hands on the stick at all times.
Oh dear.
No blindfold. Just
No.
because
Oh no, not.
TV shows kids with a blindfold doesn't mean it'll take forever if they
Yeah.
have a blindfold on. And I've seen people put a blindfold on a 2 or 3-year-old.
No, they can barely stand up.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't have any eye-hand coordination
No.
at the best of times.
And they're just tapping on it. They're
Oh,
tapping
gee.
on it with the strength of probably us tapping on our phones.
Yeah.
And they go, okay, good, next, go to the back of the line. So piñatas is something like that. Another one that we used to play as kids, but doesn't really work too well anymore, is pass the parcel.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
yeah, the problem is with pass the parcel is that you get kids all sitting in a circle, and then by the time half of them have got their treats or got something out of the parcel, they just lose any interest, and they just get up and wander away from it. Next thing you know, you've got half a circle remaining, and so the party's divided into two. Kids that are over there doing their own thing, and kids back here in the circle. So you got to hurry it up. And back in my early days, I didn't know this. I was figuring it out for myself. So I would end up just going, "Okay, everybody," and just grab a hold of the parcel and then just tear it apart myself, and then just dish it all out really quickly.
Distribute the treats.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So those are some of the things. Also, just keep the parties to 2 hours long. For me as an entertainer, I go in the middle hour. That gives everyone half an hour to arrive, and the last half an hour for food, cake, photos, things like that. But that's really all you need. I see some parties, they bung it on. They have 5-hour-long parties or longer, and the kids are just tired by the end of it.
Everyone's exhausted.
Yeah.
It's becomes an ordeal and some sort of horrible experience after a while.
Yeah, but it's good. It's fun. I still enjoy it. I've been doing it for 20 years. I still enjoy going to the parties and going in, and I just have particular instincts now. I know when a kid's about to try and whack me on the bum or anything like that.
Turn your back to it, eh?
Yeah, I can just my arms just go out and basically block it or catch their
like a ninja.
Little hand. Yeah, like
you
a ninja.
do a super ninja, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a ninja character as well, yeah. The trouble is that in certain suburbs it can look quite menacing because it's, as you can imagine, it's this black costume with just like the mail slot for the eyes. And then I've got this backpack with the yellow straps, and I end up looking like one of those ISIS guys or something running down the street.
You don't want that going on.
Good thing I'm wearing these. No, good thing I'm wearing like these. How Superman, Batman wear the undies on the outside. Well, I'm this super ninja, so I've got this black costume that might have the menacing hood, but it's also got the undies on the outside. So I think people from afar
can
see it.
You've got undies showing.
Yeah, they just think, well, how dangerous can this guy be?
And ninja boots.
Yeah.
And a silly accent.
Yeah.
How does the ninja sound?
Well, just like most of my other characters. So when I talk to everybody like this, I'm there to teach them all how to become ninjas. So I talk to them like this really easily. Yeah, I'm a ninja and jump off the walls.
That's tremendous. That's absolutely tremendous. So that's great fun to see that, and you have another colourful character, a green ninja.
Yeah.
Looks more like a funny little ninja with bright green on.
Yeah.
Does he have a silly voice too?
Yeah, just kind of the the same as a lot of the others as well.
He's more relaxed.
Yeah, he's a little more chilled, but he still knows all the ninja moves, and he still has a master too.
Master.
Yeah, and probably one of the best things that I can get kids to do when I'm being a ninja is to get everybody to sit down and meditate.
Ah, yeah, that's less whacking then.
That's right, and then they're quiet.
Mm.
Thing is, I have to use reverse psychology. So I say, "Oh, come on, don't meditate. Please don't everybody start meditating." And of course, they all sit down, cross-legged, and start going, "Oh, oh," and then I can go and sit down myself. No, I never sit down for the kids' party.
Not for an hour.
Just keep going.
You'll just be non-stop. So that's a good tip. Another good tip is if you're entertaining kids, tell them what not to do, and then they'll do it.
Yeah, reverse psychology.
Reverse psychology.
Real trick.
So you like a lot of the community centres in the Northern Beaches, and you recommend some of those as a party destination, or rather than there's obviously you can have kids parties out in parks, at the backyard, or in a hire a community centre for a very good, not a large fee, and everything's provided.
Yeah, there's
wet
some
weather
good ones
days,
around.
it's fine.
Yeah, mostly they usually have kitchens and lots of good parking. So I always recommend you, if you're going to have a kids party outside of the house or whatever, make sure it's in a place where there's lots of parking for all the guests to come along, especially if the kids are under 6. When they're 6 or older, the parents drop them off. But when they're younger, you get a lot of the parents will stay for the kids, and that means more cars need to be parked, and they need more parking spaces. Another place I recommend against having the kids' party is at the beach. Not just because of the sand, but the onshore breeze, and everyone's got to yell against the onshore breeze, and it's just, if we're near the sand, it's boggy and everything, and that's also I don't want to recommend against the surf clubs themselves, but they're very noisy inside. That's all, just because of it.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, so a good community centre in the Northern Beaches is a good option if you don't want to have a party at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with Christmas coming up, Jonas, do you have any Christmas characters you do?
Oh, yeah. A couple of...
And haven't you been a very good boy and
Santa!
a very good girl? Yes, of course. Santa is here, everybody. Haven't you been wonderful?
Oh, Santa's always a favourite.
Everybody loves Santa, and also they love his elves as well. That's right.
Yay,
Sometimes
Santa.
an elf may come out from my workshop.
And when the elf is there, then he starts talking like this. And everybody loves an elf because they bounce around the walls and they sound really fun.
And do you have a name for your elf character that you do?
Well, yeah, sure. I've got a name. My name is Eggnog the Elf.
Eggnog?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loves eggnog. That's right, the elf, that is, not the eggnog. No. All the whiskey in there. That's only for your grown-ups.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of kindies and community centres that play groups that look forward to seeing Santa or Eggnog this year and going forwards at their party. So just before we head into the next song, we might ask President Trump to come back. This is a great number. This is from another feature album, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, and this is Lenny Kravitz singing American Woman. So maybe Professor Trump, I was going to say President Trump might like to introduce the next song, Lenny Kravitz singing American Woman, because we all know American women are fantastic.
I could be a professor if I really wanted to be a professor. And by the way, I get a lot of people telling me I am a very smart guy. You'd be surprised how smart I really am. So this is American Woman, okay? Like my wife. I mean, my wife, Melania, I mean, she's great. I mean, she's not American, but I mean, she is now. She has an American passport. So this is American Woman by some guy called Lenny Kravitz.
And we're back. Yeah, that was American Woman by Lenny Kravitz, and that's from the Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me album. So just before we wind up with our special guest today at Shazza's Laughter Hour, Jonas Holt. Jonas, Can people that live in the Northern Beaches go and watch live comedy shows? Can you you ever performing in the local area? Is there opportunity for people to go and have a laugh? Because we all know laughter's very good for our health and good for our stress levels.
Yeah, lots of different rooms around Australia. Around the Northern Beaches. Let's see. Yeah, the Manly Boat Shed is probably the oldest
That's been going for
venue.
like years and years, hasn't it? 20 years or so?
Yeah, maybe even longer, maybe 25 or more.
Mm.
It was it was there when I first started doing comedy in Sydney, and so that's one every Monday night. There's another one called Hemingway's on Wednesday nights. It's at Hemingway's, I should say. It's right on the beach,
Oh,
Manly.
that's nice at Manly Beach.
Yeah. What's another one of them? Occasionally they have shows at DYRSL for something called the Australian Comedy Festival.
Mm.
That one's popular too. That really fills out. I've done that one a couple of times before. It's been lots of fun.
And other RSLs and hotels in the area,
Yeah,
in the Northern Beaches, you just check your gig guide or
yeah,
to
yeah. You
find
can
out
always,
which ones pop up.
yeah, you can have a look around in some of those. Just trying to think of any others that might be on the Northern Beaches off the top of my head. But anyway, yeah. So there's a couple of options for people to go out and see comedy if they want to.
Yeah, so look out for Jonas Holt in the Manly Daily. You actually have been featured in the Manly Daily a couple of times, haven't you?
Yeah,
For
yeah.
comedy or impersonation work.
Yeah, for impersonating the local member of Warringah. So a couple of times, yeah, I've had my photo taken in there. Well, once as just as a trivia host, and then yeah, several times after that as impersonating Tony Abbott, former Prime Minister.
Right. Wow.
Yeah,
That's fantastic. So Jonas is a local professional comedian, kids party entertainer, and actor and voiceover artist. So keep your eye out for him. And thank you very much for coming to Shazza's Laughter Hour on Radio Northern Beaches today.
wonderful. Thanks very much for having me.
It's been fantastic to talk to you about your work and Northern Beaches activities and where you can go to have a laugh or get fit, and community centres for your kids' parties. So once again, thank you very much, Jonas, for being my very special guest today
No worries. Thanks very much for having me.
and for your entertaining impersonations and insights into running a successful and smooth running kids' party.
All right, let's go, mate.
And what? How can we find Jonas if we want to find out more? What's your website, Jonas?
Just jonasholt.com.
JonasHolt.com, or you can look at Superhero Central.
For the kids'
For
party,
the kids' parties.
superherocentral.com.au.
And keep your eye out in the Manly Daily and in local gig guides for where you can go and watch comedians from the Northern Beaches and around Australia coming to perform. Laughter's the best medicine. It's very good for you. So thank you for listening to Shazza's Laughter Hour. And thanks again to my special guest this week, Jonas Holt. So stay tuned next week for Shazza's Laughter Hour on Radio Northern Beaches. And until then, have a happy, healthy, laughing day.